So there's going to be you know how there are inflection points? There's going to be a painful inflection point for people who time run out on YouTube and the internet who don't get off. You know how some truther, stuff like the first time I ever heard about truther, it was something like interesting to watch. It was just a distraction from boring, from boring. Sometimes I get a little bored, you know. But then at a certain point, you wouldn't be able to continue being a truther because you might hit the meat right on the bat and say like something like there was one who was saying like that the legal system is subject to the god of Enki. Enki's a blood god, right? Enki, from Anunnaki. If they have some prisoners and some another crime happens, and so they forget about that prisoner so much, and they stop persecuting that one, let him go. Or sometimes they just forget about you. They could either let you go, or they could forget about you in the circumstances that you're in. But it's to focus on another one. And so it's like Enki needs blood for the blood throne. Enki is hungry. He just needs his belly to be what's it called? Satiated. Like you have to appease gods. They might placate you or try to placate us, but they have to be appeased. And so with one political prisoner in custody, they're appeased until there's a different thing, and people forget about it, and for different reasons, and it doesn't have the oomph or the strength or the ability to use the energy. So they'll either let him go, the other prisoner, or they'll forget about his ass in there and focus on the new evil, because evil solidifies the unification of the proletariat, of the people, of the masses. It's always going to only appeal, it's mass appeal. Going after this is a shortcut that somebody smarter than us realized, and for them to maintain it, they have to think differently than a human. So it wouldn't make sense to us because okay, it's very painful, or it sucks to be the one to tell you, even though I want to do a good thing and talk about what I know and what I don't know. What I don't know is how much fentanyl was in Floyd's system. So Chauvin is convicted because he carried on with his knee behind the dude's neck for 9 minutes, but there's no video, and we've never seen. And what is evidence to the fact, or if it is a fact, that he kept his knee that long? I don't know. He could be a political prisoner. In fentanyl, how much fentanyl does it take to overdose? Supposedly a needle pin head of a needle. Supposedly fentanyl that he took was to get rid of evidence because he sells it to kids. He's a pornographer who counterfeits money, got called and on a counterfeit, had the fentanyl on him, and ate it before being confronted by the cops. And why is he replacing Uncle Ben when Uncle Ben isn't even allowed his face on his own products? Uncle Ben is not a slave. Uncle Ben is not a coon. He is not buck dancing. He is not exhibiting type of behavior that's not right for society. He wasn't doing all the red flags. Why get rid of Uncle Ben? He's not allowed on his own products. His face is not his contraband face. Because Uncle Ben's face is the most recognizable face in the world for except for a couple of decades back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. He didn't accomplish this through the fear. You might not be able to remember his name like Stalin or Lenin, but his face is bigger than Stalin or Lenin or anybody's face. And he didn't get there through fear, so they had to arrest him. So we need to raise bail for Uncle Ben, because instead of Uncle Ben, we're getting the Darwin, we're getting, they're giving us the Darwin Award like it's a stupid prize, and they have to be able to give it to the masses. That's, you know, so they can forget about his ass in jail and then move on to something more to their liking, you know, like another, you know what I'm saying? This one guy that they really, it's all about this one guy right now so much that it's all about this one guy, you know what I mean? It's all going to correlate back. Everything happened because of this one guy. So education is definitely illegal, because where science is lazy and take anything goes and doesn't appreciate reason, it doesn't appreciate an aspect of reason, that they want to go up now, you know what I'm saying? And if you're disciplined and you disseminate and you have a methodology and a modicum of measure for control over, you know, the scientific process, you goes down, because right now you know what I'm saying? It's like a war. It's like a war over your processes, over your assessment. And that's what a judge does, is they charge fees for assessment, because they take resources and a lot of time away from people, from the public, from the people. And so it's the defendant versus the people. All right. So, you gonna be okay? Or you gonna be cool? Like, I'm not talking to you if you watch this video, you know what I mean? Like you know already what I'm talking about, but for the people who just only want to say, like, because of this one guy, you know what I mean? Like, you're skin folks and not kin folks. And that's all it really requires for me to know whether or not you're skin folks or kin folks. But now I can take something to let Stacy Peterson, Casey Anthony, whatever her fucking names are, Lacey Anthony, take care of my kids. Like, she's not going to pull a Kathy Gifford on them and drive them into the lake in a station wagon. You don't know why you even like why do you even like somebody? Because they don't like somebody that we all know that we're not supposed to like. How does that work? How does that work? That's why they got all these experiments in social distancing, and then the my fans. You know, you can't get a tryptophan in science. We can't get down to tryptophan. You can get a dimethyltryptophan. You can't get tryptophan. We know it's there. We know about it. We know that it's there, but you can't get to it. We can't isolate it. That's what I'm saying. You know that if you isolate a hydrogen molecule, that equals an explosion. It's not reductive reasoning. An isolated hydrogen molecule equals chaos energy. Okay, that's an explosion. So the clay and the saltpeter, and with the sulfur, the clay is there to as a timing effect to slow down the burn. You can make all different grades of shit without clay in it to be highly volatile or something. You know what I mean? Because they were using it to make the wick. If you make the wick fatter, the wick burns really fast. Did you know that it almost disappears instantly? If you light a wick to a firecracker, not a firecracker, but to an M80, you have a few seconds. But if that, let's say that wick was like 2 millimeters thick, you just light it and blow your hand off. It's over. Because it takes longer because the clay and with mixed in with the saltpeter and the sulfur and the potassium or something. I don't know. I don't know shit, but I kind of get an idea. So trying to degrade a facet of accessibility to be able to break down the circumstances in your situation and everything, like real time and stuff like that. Like, you have to wonder, it's already in whodunit, like who has an interest in you being less alert and less aware and more in jeopardy and limbo? Who has an interest in that? Who's just salivating and sitting around just plotting and salivating? Not a human. See, the thing is, there's no sinister motivation in the universe, but there's archetypes that have not become gods, not even that they can be considered forgotten gods, or unknown gods, or because they never became that. They're just like subconscious archetypes, and they're like little those are what the demons are. Those are what the demons are. In ancient Egypt, they didn't have a such thing as black magic, and they used to work with those demons too, in a way that we probably can't understand because it doesn't attribute to the way that we think about anything like religion, or even that the Medu Neter might just be a kiosk or something ornate. We haven't determined, because we haven't deciphered that it's Medu Neter. You have like Medusa, you have a lot of stuff comes from it, but we don't even decipher the original, like down to the basis of that, right? The subterranean element, what's below the surface is yet undefined. It's just talking about the veil as if it's just as interesting as the uncreate, right? The uncreate, we know, is not as debaucherous and overlordian as all these gods. They're scheming to deny you from ever getting your Osirian body. They're trying to keep you from ever getting to the higher levels because they lord over that shit. There's like they have a bunch of traps for you to fall in, and a bunch of snares, and a bunch of they want you to become a more tenderized delicacy, like feeding on, like they get tired of old things they've already had, and they need to figure out ways to tenderize new delicacies. And so that thing's different. That thing's different from somebody that can't understand why, if they're informing this the ones that have an interest in line with appeasing the Archon. So if you wanted to inform, it's not that you're my enemy by instinct and by nature and by this and that, because we haven't deciphered Medu Neter. They're the enemy because you're informing Captain Hook where to find Peter Pan, how to trap and get Peter Pan before Peter Pan finds his balance. One of the slick ways to do it is to tell you you should center yourself. Because that's not necessarily balance. That's just another way for me to become a overlord, like a steward, it's like conservatorship. If you agree, I get a free initiate, I get a free pleb. I get a free what's it called? Not pleb. Yeah, I get a free pleb. I get somebody to follow me around like an apprentice. Yeah, damn. Because they're just people just looking for that. That's what they're interested in. That's what they're interested in. Don't get mad at them. They think that's what they need. Maybe they're uninformed. Maybe that's the whole point of the whole definition of being uninformed. And they're not wrong, because if I'm not the best guy to do something, I'll find someone smarter or someone better at doing it and ask them how to do it or something like that. So I think if there's more fear, then people's vision is more blurry. Then they can't tell what you're there for or know why, who you are, or what they're there for anymore. It's like it makes it more like because there's more, you know, thing. But that's only the mass effect. That's the mass effect. I lost the point of the video.